Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing today? My name is Narada Lee. I just want to thank everyone for taking the opportunity and the time to join us tonight to receive some phenomenal information on how to be the best versions of ourselves on being a better job candidate. Tonight, we'll hear great information from Reverend Dr. James Warmack. He's going to bring a great information on how to be a better job candidate. And again, we just want to kind of give you a little information on what we're doing for the city of Fort Worth. The REACH Center, this is our very first series. We want to go out into the community, help those who to try to get better jobs. Times are very rough right now, so we want you to be well prepared and to also get the best versions of yourself. And so I want to kind of open up. I want to give you a little background about Reverend Dr. James Warmack. He's an energetic Christian leader, a visionary man of purpose, an entrepreneur who serves as the senior pastor and founder of Destiny Church. Destiny Church is one of the fastest growing church in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. Dr. Warmack is a world-class teacher, trainer, leader, facilitator, focused on serving the community, his family, and his church. Dr. Warmack is a native of Detroit, Michigan. He resides in Fort Worth and his wife, Cynthia, over 29 years, along with their 8 children. He has a doctorate's degree, a PhD in evangelism from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. He has a master's degree, and he also has a bachelor's degree. At this time, I want to kind of open up and allow him to come on and present the great information.
Everyone, hello. So good to see you guys on tonight. I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Mr. Narada Lee, for the glamorous introduction. So thankful for that, and so thankful for you as well. It's good to be on the line tonight with you all. As he shared, we're excited to be with you all. We're excited to be able to pour into our community. We want to help you exactly where you are. So we don't want to take too long on the night. We're going to give you a bunch of information really quickly. I want to encourage you that if you practice these things, they're going to improve your pitch in your organization. So we'll just jump right into our time together. And I want to encourage you. I want to ask you all a question. Do you have a pitch? You say, well, what is a pitch? Do you have an overall pitch that how you deliver yourself, how you communicate who you are, your skills, your talents, your abilities, but most importantly, how you can impact the bottom line of an organization? Do you have a personal pitch? If you do have a personal pitch, I'm not going to ask you guys to say it to me, but you can put it in the chat if you like. In fact, you all can put your questions in the chat. We'll answer your questions from the chat on tonight. And so we're so glad that you guys are here, and we'll answer your questions from the chat. It's good to see my good friend, Pastor Dr. Daryl Atwater on with us tonight, Brother Fred Laboya, Miss Brown as well. So glad to have you guys on with us on tonight. If you all come to the chat, if you all post in the chat, we can pick up your questions there from the chat, and we definitely want your input. We're going to set aside time towards the end for you guys to ask questions, but feel free to go ahead and post your questions. May stop on the way and address some of those questions. Our overall goal for tonight is to help you craft a compelling personal pitch that highlights your unique value and aligns with the role and sets you apart in a competitive job market. So as you all come here, it's important to understand that this is one of 3 sessions that we're going to have. We're going to have 3 sessions. Our first session will focus on your overall pitch and the pitch process. Our second session will focus on pitching in the bullpen, preparing a top-notch resume. Now, here's the reality. Most of you all say, well, I've got a resume. I should be able to get a job. Now, I want to suggest that the resume is one step, but it's not the only step. My friend, Dr. Liz Moffitt, says that resumes get you interviews, good interviews get you jobs. Here you go. Good resumes get you good interviews. And then good interviews get you good job offers. And then good job offers should lead to good performance. So the question is, where are you at in the pitch process? How well do you pitch yourself? Over the years, I've just acquired a skill to help develop and pour my life into other people. And so I want to pour into you tonight. I want to invest in you, add value to you. I want to help you not just be a candidate. I want to help you be the ultimate job candidate. And so how do you distinguish yourself? There used to be a thing called Finding Waldo. And so in the midst of Finding Waldo, I might be aging myself. In the midst of Finding Waldo, there were a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of stuff. You have to find this Waldo. That's how it is trying to place you in the job market today. There are a bunch of people applying for jobs. My goal is to help you find a high-level job, a good paying job, and a job that fits your values, your skills, and your talents, and a job where you can stand out and make a great difference. You know, the job market has really changed. The job market has changed. And so I was talking with someone on last couple of days. I've been working with them on trying to secure a new high-level job. And so they're applying for high-level jobs, and they've gotten a lot of interviews. So we tweaked their resume, and the calls start pouring in. They start getting interviews, actually several people. But the question becomes, after I get the interview, how well do I perform on the interview? And part of the question on the interview is, how well do you pitch yourself? How well do you let people know who you are, what you can do, and how you can function? One of the challenges that I see is that very often people are often trying to tell their experience rather than communicate how they can benefit the organization. The purpose of a pitch is to help you understand how you can better benefit the people in the organization. So our overall purpose for tonight is to empower participants to craft a compelling personal pitch that highlights their unique value and aligns with their goals and differentiates them in the competitive job market. The job market is extremely competitive. We want you to have clarity. We want you to have confidence in who you are, to articulate your skills. Watch this now, your achievements in a concise and impactful manner. You don't have all day to deliver who you are. That's why the pitch is necessary. Your adaptability to tailor your pitch for various scenarios, such as networking, interviews, and casual introductions. Let me tell you a secret. You are always being interviewed. You are always being interviewed. You may think you're just at the mall talking to somebody. You may think that you're just having a lunch. You are always being interviewed. So the question becomes, how are you pitching yourself? You may say, well, I'm not looking for a job. You may not be looking for a job now, but at some point you will be looking for a job. And so can you pitch yourself well, even when you're quote unquote not looking for a job? And then do you have strategic preparation? So we're going to show you all how to be extremely prepared and to distinguish yourself even in your preparation for a role. So when we talk about a compelling job market, do you have a compelling personal pitch to stand out? Number one, do you understand your personal brand? I want to help you move from seeing yourself as merely a person to seeing yourself as a product, to move from seeing yourself as merely a person to seeing yourself as a product. Old school sales used to talk about, don't just tell the features, tell the benefits. Can you tell the benefits of what will happen for the company if they hire you? And so it used to be, you know what, if I had the education, if I had the education and the qualifications, then I automatically got the job. Nowadays, you have to be able to distinguish yourself, sell yourself, tell what you can do, tell how you know the company, tell how you can benefit, tell what your strengths are, tell what your values are, tell what your benefits the company is. The purpose of a pitch is to communicate your story effectively in a short period of time. So even in your resume, very often I see on resumes, people have an experience-based resume. That's not the goal. I'll tell you next week what it should be. But when you're pitching, even your resume is a pitch. Your cover letter is a pitch. Your interviews are pitches. Your final interview is a pitch. Your introduction speech is a pitch. Your interaction with your employees is a pitch. You want to highlight your relevant achievements and experience. You want to tailor your pitch for different audiences. Where are you at? Who are you talking to? And what are you talking about? And then I want to share with you the elements of a effective pitch. And so as we look at this, I want to share with you all a methodology. I put this methodology together with my company called the Ultimate Job Search Company. And so it's called promotion. Each letter, it's an acrostic. The P stands for prime yourself. The R stands for revise your resume and cover letters. I say revise. It's very rare. Of the last 15 to 25 resumes I've reviewed, Daryl Atwaters was the only one who had a resume that was in a good format and that would be appealing to employers. So what does your resume do? So say, well, all the grammar's good and the dates are accurate and the experience is accurate. You need more than that on your resume and also in your cover letter. Number three, you want to make sure that you observe the employment landscape and the trends, employment trends. Next, you want to make sure you match your values and your skills with what the employer needs. Match your value and skills. Don't just want what you did for the last company. What can you do for the current company or the company that you're interviewing with? Then we want to onboard you. We want to onboard you into your organization so you can make a good first impression. You can get started well. You can get further faster if you have an onboarding coach. You want to be able to track your transferable skills. What are your transferable skills? Then you want to interview well and strategically. Interviewing well and strategically is not just showing up for the interview and answering their questions. Can you command the interview? Can you take charge of the interview? Can you make a positive impression in the interview? Can you leave an indelible mark in the interview? What do you do in preparation will influence you in your interview presentation. And very often we don't prepare well enough, so then we don't interview well enough. Your interview is your opportunity to pitch. Your interview is the opportunity to sell yourself. Your interview is your opportunity to communicate who you are, but you got to get the interview first. If you don't know who you are and what you have to offer, you can't articulate who you are well and what you have to offer well. Then you want to get into offer negotiation, and then you want to network well. That's the overall landscape. That's the overall framework when it comes to interviewing well. I want to suggest that most people don't interview well. Most people are underprepared for their interviews. Most people don't understand how the job market has changed. Good question. How has the job market changed? Number one is increased competition. We've moved to remote work and global connectivity, having expanded the candidate pools, creating more competition for six-figure jobs. So I'm really focused on higher level jobs. I'm not really focused on lower level jobs. Those jobs, lower level jobs, if you can breathe, if you're dependable, if you show up, you get that job. I'm not talking about that kind of job. I'm trying to get you into a six-figure job. I'm trying to get you to maximize your income. I'm trying to get you into a career type job. I'm trying to get you a job that has great benefits and great perks when you get into it. So I'm not just trying to get you a lower level job. I'm trying to get you a job that's higher in the organization. I'm trying to get you to climb the organizational ladder for higher levels of success. We'll talk more about that on next week. But the first shift is remote competition. It's not just the people in your neighborhood, the people who live in driving distance. It's now global competition for a job. Candidates must differentiate themselves with specialized skills and compelling pitches, not just a pitch, but a compelling pitch. Number two is that it's a focus on soft skills. Employers now prioritize leadership, communication, adaptability, emotional intelligence, alongside your technical expertise. See, it used to be just technical expertise. Now they want you to have a package. They want you to have communication skills, the ability to lead, the ability to have emotional intelligence. So candidates must highlight these qualities in their pitch and throughout the hiring process. What we do in preparation for your pitch will now help you in every element and every place along the way of your interview process. Number three, how the market has changed, is technology integration. So your old school resume, people would read your resume, they could read it, and they could actually see what you put on there. They could infer what you did. Now we have the applicant tracking system, the ATS, and virtual interviews are now standard. People don't call you in for the first interview anymore. They typically call you in for the third interview or when you become a serious candidate. Resumes and pitches must be optimized for digital platforms, and candidates must adapt to virtual presentation settings. Are you ready for a virtual presentation setting? Do you understand how the market has changed? One of my clients right now is consulting. I had him send me his outline for his interviews because I knew we had some great, I knew we were getting great interviews, but I was concerned about in the interviews, he wasn't getting job offers. So I was concerned about how the interview was going. So I said, why don't you send me the questions and how you respond to the questions in the interview, because I'm not in the interviews with him. So he sent me the questions, he sent me how he responds. Then we evaluated that, we ranked that. And what I noticed was his responses were not optimized for the shifts that had transpired in the job market. Next, I have to put an emphasis now on your personal branding. Many companies now are going to look at your LinkedIn. They're going to look at your Facebook, your Instagram, and say, well, all that's personal. Well, it's on a public platform. So now employers are going to see what can they learn about you, what's your background, does your name pop up in stories, does your name pop up on the internet? So employers often research candidates online before interviews. So a consistent professional online presence is essential to complement your pitch. So when they go look you up, what do they find? Don't assume because you know what? Because I am so-and-so and so-and-so, they're not going to check me out. No, they're going to check out who you are and what is your pitch? What are you about? What are you doing? The evolving job roles. Many job roles today require multidisciplinary skills and a future-focused mindset due to rapid technological advancements and shifting industries. So you don't have the luxury today to not know technologies. You need to be a quick study when it comes to technology. You need to be fluent with local access network. You need to be fluent working with the laptop, working with an iPad, using your phone and your device as a productivity tool and not just a social tool. You need to know the Microsoft Office suite and how it functions and what you do. All of that needs to be automatic. Candidates need to demonstrate adaptability and a willingness to evolve with industry trends. Networking as a key driver. Guys, networking is not optional. Networking is essential if you want to climb the corporate ladder. People want to know how strong are your interpersonal skills. You don't have to be an extrovert, but you can be able to communicate and be able to engage people and carry conversation, ask good questions, and give feedback. Networking remains the most effective way to access six-figure jobs. It's not always what you know, it's who you know. Say, well, I don't want to go to another conference. I don't want to go to another networking seminar. You know what? If people don't know you, they can't call you when jobs in an organization. If people don't know your skills, your talents, and your abilities professionally well, they cannot be advocates for you behind your back. A strong pitch is crucial for making memorable impressions during networking opportunities. Yeah, I want to see you guys make some comments if you all like. I want to see you guys here. I want to see you all ask your questions. Go ahead and start posting your questions, post your feedback. We want to be able to engage you. One of the solutions to hitting a home run in this job market is good pitching. One of the solutions to making a home run in this job market is good pitching. Here's the action item. What is your current pitch? Based upon the characteristics we just communicated, do you have a good pitch? Is it effective? How has it worked for you in the past? Is it producing for you? Do you have a good pitch? Is your pitch producing? Please go ahead and post some questions. I don't want to just talk at you. I want to talk with you all on tonight. So go ahead and post that. I want you all to post in the chat. If you all can post in the chat, how would you rate your current pitch on a scale from 1 to 5? 1 is a non-existent pitch. 5 is an excellent over-the-top pitch, and you can't use 3. So on a scale of 1 to 5, and you can't use 3, 1 is no pitch, 5 is an excellent pitch. How would you rate your current pitch? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to to go ahead and post your current pitch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's a great question. One of the questions that we have here is when given a pitch during an interview, how long should your pitch be? 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or longer? You know, what you want to do is you want to have different versions of your pitch. And so when you talk to me about my organization, we're talking about my personal business, I can talk to you 1 minute. I can talk to you 5 minutes. I can talk to you 10 minutes. I can talk to you 1 hour. I can talk to you 1 day. I can talk to you 1 week. And it'll all be centered around my organizations and my businesses, my skills, my talents, my abilities, how I can benefit you, how I can serve you, how I've gotten results for other organizations and for other people. So good. We got Daryl Atwater's got a 5. Nevada Lee says his is a 4. Aaliyah Brown says hers is a 4. Awesome. So guys, don't be afraid to post there. I want to share with you now what a pitch is. A pitch is a concise, persuasive, underline persuasive. It's a persuasive message that communicates your value, your skill, not your values, but your value. What is your value to an organization? Let me put it another way. What results can you get for the organization? So they pretty much assume you have good character. People assume you have good character. People assume that you are honest. People assume that you're a hard worker. They assume those things now. You don't get high-level jobs. You don't have a long, positive track record without those things being in place. What I want to ask now is, do you have a persuasive message? You have a persuasive pitch. Do you understand how you can add value to what they're trying to do, to what their mission is, to the organization's bottom line? And so very often we go in underprepared because we don't understand what they need. We don't understand what they're looking for. We don't understand the standout characteristics for that job and how it aligns to what's on our resume, to what we've done and what we've produced. So a concise, persuasive message that communicates your values. Next is, what are your skills? What can you do? So if we bring you in, we put you into an office, what can we anticipate you're going to produce, you're going to do, you're going to nurture? Watch this now. The higher you go in the organization, it's not what you can do, it's what you can get done through other people. The higher you go in an organization, it's not primarily what you can do, it's what you can get done through other people. So as you're making your pitch, you want to communicate, here's what I can get done for your organization. Now, many of you all have seen these political interviews, and you'll see somebody from MSNBC, from Fox Network, from CNN. I don't want to miss anybody politically. Wherever you listen, okay, the ON Network, wherever you listen. And so wherever you listen, Tavis Smiley on his network, wherever you listen, you'll see when they ask political pundits or when they ask politicians a question, very often the politicians don't even answer the question. They communicate the message they're trying to get across. Now, I'm not saying ignore the questions the interviewer asks you, but I am encouraging you that when you're in the midst of your interview, you go above and beyond in answering their question, and you also move into a training modality to where you let them know what your skills are, what your knowledge is, what your achievements are, and what your abilities are based upon the specific audience. So it's important to know who's going to be in the interview. Your pitch is designed to grab attention, to spark interest, to open the door to further conversational opportunity. When you get into interview 1, your goal is to earn your way to interview 2. Interview 1 is typically a screening. Interview 1 is typically, do they have the basic skills so we can pass them along to the hiring manager? We can open them up to the interview panel. Are they worthy of us investing more time, resources, and energy? So remember, you're trying to sell people. You're trying to persuade people. You're trying to earn your way to the second interview. The question here is, how do you effectively manage stress, deliver your best pitch with confidence and clarity? Excellent question. Preparation leads to peace. Good preparation leads to peace. Most of us don't spend enough time in preparation, so we have perspiration and frustration when we get to our interview. Most of us don't spend enough time in preparation, so we have frustration and perspiration when we get to the interview. You want to make sure that you anticipate the questions they're going to ask. And then you review not just the questions, you review your responses over and over and over again. You refine your responses. You refine your speech as you go along the way. So what are some good characteristics of a pitch for a high income job? Remember, I'm not focused on working at fast food, okay? Unless you're the manager, you're the regional director, et cetera, et cetera. So number one, you need to have a clear and strategic message. What are you trying to communicate? What are you trying to convey? What are you trying to get across? Highlight the accomplishments that directly align with the role. Well, sometimes it's hard to figure out what you've done on the spot. So what you do in your preparation, we prepare documentation so your presentation is impressive. Demonstrate how your skills address, demonstrate how your skills address the company's challenges or goals. So have you researched the company well enough to know more than just their name? Do you understand the company well enough to know how they function? Number two is provide quantifiable results. So say I worked hard, that doesn't help us much, but give us quantifiable metrics. You increase revenue, you reduced operational costs by 20%. You improve the performance of 20% of the workforce. And so when you begin to add those quantifiables, now you begin to get a vision on how you can impact their organization. But don't just speak the standpoint, well, I worked hard, I did quality work, I visited. Quantify it. Give them some metrics, give them some key performance indicators, give them some key performance metrics. People are concerned about impact. People are concerned about revenue. People are concerned about margins. They want to know, how can you impact that? Use industry specific language. In my coaching with my clients, we talk about what is the nomenclature? What are the acronyms? What are the abbreviations in the industry? We want to make sure that we're able to convey our depth of knowledge. We want to convey that we have an expertise, and all that comes through that. Next is your personal branding. Clearly conveys your unique value proposition and why you are the ideal candidate. If you have not distinguished yourself from the other pool of qualified candidates, they're going to say, thank you, we appreciate you, we're going to the next person. Next is professional confidence. Was your pitch delivered with poise, enthusiasm, clarity, reflecting leadership abilities expected at six-figure roles? I'm going to share with you all next week that every job in the organization is not at the same level. And to get to the next level, you got to do more than your job at your current level. To get to the next level, you got to do more than your job at the current level. So when you go in, you have to convey, you have ability, you have talent, you have skills. It needs to be tailored to the audience. So who am I interviewing? What positions are they? Have I done research on the people who will be there? What are their roles? What are their functions? Are they, where are they at on the overall organizational chart? Are they above me? Are they directors? Are they VPs? Are they in the C-suite? Are they my peers? Will they be my subordinates? Are they administrative staff? Who are the people I'm pitching to? But then you want to take command of your pitch. If you don't sound confident with your pitch, you're not confident in your interview, that's going to translate, and people don't want to have to build your confidence when they're hiring you on staff. They're going to look for people who are confident, people who are articulate, people who are competent, people who have good chemistry, people who are able to articulate, people who maintain their poise. Watch this now. And people who can take charge. You say, well, won't that be intimidating? If the person interviewing you is intimidated by your confidence, that's the wrong place to work. If they're intimidated by your poise, if they're intimidated by your confidence, that's the wrong place to work. Then you want to be forward-looking. Show how your experience will drive future success for the organization. Show how your past successful performance will influence their successful future performance. And so, guys, keep pumping these questions. Another question here: how does one utilize AI in creating a pitch? Well, you can go to AI, and you can use AI to say, you know what? Here's where I'm at currently with my pitch for this kind of job in this kind of industry. How would you improve it? Okay. Now, AI doesn't know all the intricacies of every organization. So you have to be able to add some other things to AI. And so when you're using AI, it's not just what AI comes up with. You have to add additional information to supplement what AI comes up with. Okay. And so your action, what needs to change in your current pitch? So based upon all of these characteristics, a clear strategic message, quantifiable results, industry-specific language, personal branding. What else we got here? Let me go back. Personal branding. Then we go into professional confidence, your tailoring for specific audience, and your forward-looking vision. What needs to change in your current pitch? What needs to change in your current pitch? All righty. Now, some of you all said, well, you know what? I've got some fear. You know, one of the questions was, how do you effectively manage stress to deliver your best pitch with confidence and clarity? Well, part of that is fear. And so the question becomes, okay, what are some fears that we encounter that we need to overcome in our pitch? The fear of rejection. What if they reject me? Fear of being underprepared. Fear of sounding arrogant, fear of judgment. And then there's your question, Brother Narada. Fear of pressure situations. How do I manage the pressure? The higher you go in the organization, they anticipate and believe that you know how to manage pressure. The higher you go in the organization, the more pressure there is in what you do. Remember this now. They want to know how well can work with other people. They want to know, are we making an addition or are we multiplying the impact of our organizations? What about unanticipated behavioral questions during the interview? That's an awesome question, Brother Newman. Thank you for sharing that question. Your preparation will reduce under anticipation. Your preparation will deal with under anticipation. So the better your preparation, the better prepared you'll be for quote unquote unanticipated questions. You'll close the gap on questions they ask you that are not anticipated, because what you're going to do in your preparation, what you want to do is play Jeopardy in your preparation. What I do when I work with my clients, I work with them on thinking through, doing critical thinking, analysis, and anticipation on what on earth will they ask you in this role. When you come to this job, what might they ask you? And my mind is constantly working with my client, trying to think about the exact same thing. What are these questions that they may ask me during this interview? Okay, let me keep moving for the sake of time. I want to be able to help you grow. So some people have a fear of self-promotion, a fear of self-promotion. Should I be promoting myself? The fear of self-promotion is a common obstacle, especially when delivering a pitch. Now, if you're a high D or a high I on the DISC behavioral system, you've got no problem pitching yourself. If you're an S or C, you don't prefer to pitch yourself. D's focus on metrics, on results, and on what they can do. I's focus on the people they know, their awards, and their impact. S's say, you know what, I'm not a public person. I don't like bragging on myself. I just like solid relationships. You have to step out of your comfort zone to get into the hiring zone. You have to step out of your comfort zone to get into the hiring zone. You're trying to make an impression. You're trying to inspire people. You've got to get over the fear of self-promotion. Let me make a statement here. If you're overly concerned about self-promotion, you don't have the emotional maturity for higher level jobs. If you're still wrestling with self-promotion, you don't have the professional maturity for higher level jobs. You will not be a top performer if you're concerned about self-promotion, unduly concerned about self-promotion. It stems from discomfort with highlighting one's achievements and abilities, often due to cultural, personal, and societal factors. Your personal security is going to bleed through in your confidence and your ability to promote and sell yourself. If you don't have personal security, it will translate in professional insecurity. If you don't have personal security, it will translate into professional insecurity. To go higher in the organization, people don't want to hear about, people don't want to see your personal insecurity. They want to see that you are competent. They want to see that you are confident. They want to see that you have capacity, high capacity, and they want to see you have capability. So when it comes to fear of self-promotion, this fear can prevent individuals from effectively communicating their value, which is crucial in a competitive job market. You're not trying to draw inordinate attention to yourself per se. You're trying to show them how you're distinct from everybody else who's applied for that job. You're trying to show them how you're better qualified than the person they interviewed right before you. Smile at me. And then how are you better qualified than the person from China, from Germany, from Israel, from Chicago, from Memphis, from Missouri, from the person who has more experience than you? How are you a better decision than that person? Please post your question in the chat right now. I want to hear from you. I want to talk about what you all want to hear. Brother Atwater, you asked the question, when you made the statement, that was one of the biggest lessons you learned. What was one of the biggest lessons you learned as you've been interviewing for these high-level, deep six-figure jobs? So I want to hear from you guys, okay? We talk about the reasons for the fear of self-promotion. I'm gonna go through these really quickly. A fear of appearing arrogant, imposter syndrome, cultural conditioning. Most of the people don't believe self-promotion is appropriate. That's why you have more employees than you have leaders. That's why you have the majority of people who don't make six figures than you do people who do make six figures, because of cultural conditioning. I often quote my brother. My brother makes a comment. He says, "I'll see you at the top. It's entirely too crowded at the bottom." Why are we selling for what everybody else does? If you are pitching yourself the way the majority of people pitch themselves, you do not distinguish yourself for a deep six-figure job or why you ought to get the job. Fear of rejection and a lack of confidence. Here's the reality. You're going to hear no. You're going to hear no. I used to be in sales when I was in between my first degree and my first master's degree. I was in sales. I was selling clothes, and worked at a place called Bachrock, B-A-C-H, Bachrock, and well, we sold clothes, and it might have been R-A-C-H, Bachrock, B-A-C-H, I sold clothes, and a guy by the name of George Burks. George Burks is an incredible salesperson, and George Burks taught me that, James, don't try selling a particular outfit. Your job is to show $4,000 worth of merchandise. And for every $4,000 in merchandise that you show, you will sell $1,000 of merchandise. I've never forgotten that. You're going to hear no, but every no gets you closer to yes. I'm not sure how many no's are coming your way, but every no you make gets you one closer to the next step. The writer says rejection is one step closer to a yes. It's part of the growth process. We don't like hearing no, but no is just part of the process. No doesn't mean I don't have value. No doesn't mean I'm not qualified. No doesn't mean I don't deserve the job. No just means no. That right now, here's where I'm at. So how do you overcome the fear of self-promotion? Number one, reframe self-promotion as sharing value. Number two, focus on the audience that you're talking to. Instead of thinking about yourself, consider what the employer or listener needs to know to see your potential. Use language that ties your achievements to the company's successes. Increase sales by 20%. Helping my team exceed quarterly goals. When I'm talking to somebody, number one, I try to listen extremely well. I try to listen. I try to bring back up what they stated in the conversation at some point later in the conversation, so they're impressed with my attentiveness. They're impressed. They're impressed with my memory. They're impressed with my critical thinking. And so I want to show them, you know what, I've got more than what's on that resume. I've got more than what you're thinking about. I want to focus on, when I make a statement, I want to see how their mouth moved. When I make a statement, I want to see how their eyes move. When I tell a joke, I want to see if they smile. Eric B. and Rakim, an old rap group, used to say, how can I move the crowd? First of all, ain't no mistakes allowed. Here are their instructions. It's quite simple, ain't it? Some of you have been trying to write rhymes for years, imitate my ear. Smile at me. Is this the best that you can make? All right. So guys, when I get into an interview, number one, I'm going to be myself. Okay? Because being myself and being my best self, I believe I can add value to any organization I step into. Any room you bring me in, the value of that room is about to go up. And I'm going to tell you how I have walked into rooms and I've increased the value of the room because I walked in. All right, we tracking together? When you walk into the room, what value you bring? When you walk into the room, how does the value of the room increase? You've got to have confidence in who you are. All righty? I only can do three things. And one of those things is add value to people. And one of those things is to bring out the best in you. One of those things to help you maximize your life. One of those things to help you be your best. I'm not charging you a dime. Consultants will charge you thousands for what I'm giving you for free right now. Smile at me. Okay? Number three, prepare and practice. Most of us don't spend enough time in preparation to make great presentations. Most of us don't spend enough time in preparation to make great presentations. You are not just preparing for that one interview. You're preparing for interviews for the rest of your life. You're preparing for pitches for the rest of your life. Remember, every conversation is a pitch. You're always advertising. You're always promoting. You're always communicating. You're always reading the room. Are we tracking together? John Newman says sometimes man's rejection is God's protection. There are some jobs you shouldn't get. There are some organizations you shouldn't work in. There are some places that are not a good fit for you. Doesn't mean it's not a good job. It's just not a good fit for you. Okay. Mr. Atwater says, study the job like a class. Be confident. Be self-aware. Walk into an interview like you have the job. All righty. And so, well, that's a great point. I'll show you next week. Talk from a standpoint like you have the job. You know, when I'm here in this organization, I envision doing A, B, C, and D. Number four, use data and facts to overcome fear of self-promotion. Next, adapt a growth mindset. Okay, embrace the idea that sharing your accomplishments is part of professional growth. Recognizing and discussing your achievements openly inspires confidence. And you know what? Here's what we did. You know, when I was 15 years old, I struggled with this. But when I was 17, I was able to accomplish this. And boy, I saw myself grow. I saw the organization grow. I saw other people grow. I often tell the story when I forget how old I was, but I went to the University of Detroit basketball camp, and Don Seco was the head coach. I lived off Dexter and Davison, and so I went to up to McNichols. I went to McNichols, where the actual basketball camp was. And so when I got there for the basketball camp, I had to walk 6 miles to get to the basketball camp. Now, I told one of my old school, I had to walk 6 miles to get there. And I got there, and a kid didn't know exactly what he was doing. And so I was trying to explain to him what to do. And I look up, and Don Seco, the head basketball coach at the University of Detroit, caught me telling the kid what to do. And I thought I was in trouble for telling this kid what to do. At the end of that camp, they gave out awards. And what I thought I got in trouble for, I elevated myself that day. Don Seco gave me my first leadership award. And Don Seco gave me an award for the top leader in the camp. All because I was just doing what I do, just investing. I discovered I was a leader after I walked 6 miles to get to U of D. I know how to impact other people. Next, balance confidence with humility. You know, I completed my PhD recently, and I said, you know what? Now I get to read what I want to read. Typically, when I go talk to people, I ask a million questions. I always got a list of questions. One of my strengths is asking questions. One of my faults is asking questions. I'm always in a continuous learning modality. So I'm talking. I'm typically quoting books from other people I've learned from, and I'm telling people, you know what? Here's what I'm working on right now. Right now, I'm working on 2 or 3 skills I want to get better in this year as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as an organizational founder, as an organizational CEO. Seek feedback. Ask folks what they think, how'd that go, what went well, what did not go well. Remind yourself of your worth. You cannot convince somebody else of your worth if you're not sold on your worth. Preparation and practice are so important in the hiring process. Are you prepared? Do you make preparation for your presentation? Brother Fred said, this is very helpful. My last interview used the STAR interview method. Now I realize now that better self-promotion could have definitely given me an edge. It's not just your degree. It's not just who you are on paper. Tell them off paper and help them better understand who you are on the paper. Ladies and gentlemen, overcoming the fear of self-promotion is essential for advancing today's competitive job market, especially for 6-figure positions. I want to help you get in deep figure 6 figures. I want to see you make $250 a year. I want to see you get in the top 5% of income earners in the country. Do you know what the top 5% of income earners make? Do you know? You ought to know that number. I think every person needs to make at least 6 figures in their household. Every man who has a family, you probably need to be getting somewhere around 150 to take the pressure off your family. It's expensive to live. Employers can't recognize your value unless you effectively communicate it. Overcoming this fear allows you to advocate for yourself with confidence and authenticity, opening doors to opportunities you might otherwise miss. Remember, self-promotion isn't arrogance. It's a professional skill that ensures your voice is heard and your potential is realized. All righty. Again, preparation and practice. Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Preparation and practice are so important in hiring processes. If you get stuck in your job and you haven't been promoted in 4 years, you're not pitching yourself properly on your job. I want to share with you some principles for great pitching. And then in about 8 or 9 minutes, 10 minutes, I want to just do Q&A. And I just want to hear your questions. So I want you to prepare your question. Let me tell you something else. Humility is expressed when you ask questions. Attentiveness is communicated and conveyed when you ask questions. Critical thinking is communicated when you ask questions. If you don't ask questions, then people don't know that you were paying attention. People don't know that you're attentive. People don't know that you're a critical thinker. Your silence communicates that you didn't have enough time, or you need more time to put together a constructive and inquisitive question. So the ability to ask questions is not just, I don't have questions. When you ask questions, you show you were paying attention. When you ask questions, you show you're a critical thinker. When you ask questions, you demonstrate that you're a problem solver. When you ask questions, you demonstrate you can think on your feet. Are we tracking together? And so preparation sometimes alleviates the necessity, quote unquote, to think on your feet to think on your feet. I wrote this down this week in preparation for this. When you do enough preparation for questions, people will think that you think well on your feet because you have thought well in your seat. People will think you think well on your feet when you have thought well in your seat. Have you thought well in your seat before you got to the interview? Let me give you these. Now I want to get to you guys' questions. Coming got some questions. Number one, great competition necessitates a great pitch. See, most folks view, I'm going to go into an interview passively. I'm going to go into an interview. I'm going to let them control the environment and let them drive the interview. I'm not saying go in there and be obnoxious. I'm not saying go in there and be rude. I'm saying go in there and communicate your message that you're trying to convey, that you're the best person for this job. A well-crafted pitch is essential for a competitive job market. Again, it gives you a chance to stand out. It gives you a chance to educate them on what you know. It gives you an opportunity to demonstrate what you can do beyond the job description. Okay. Number two, all pitches are not identical. Ensure your pitch stands out. All pitches are not identical. Ensure your pitch stands out. You know what? When you have a good pitch, then what happens is when you have a good pitch, people may not hire you for that job, but they may say, you know what? This person may be a good pitch for a different job we have in the organization. Your pitch should reflect your unique skills, experience, and the value you bring. Tailor it to the specific audience or job opportunity. I got my most recent contract that's multi-$1,000s per month talking to a friend who's a CEO of an organization. I was just talking to my friend, but remember, every place I go is a pitch. So I'm talking about my family. I'm talking about what my kids are doing. I'm pitching what my kids can do, what they can offer to an organization. I'm pitching what I have done. I'm pitching how I've improved. I'm just telling them what I've done, how I've improved stuff. You know what? I want you to come and I want you to be a coach from one of my C-level executive employees. Okay. I wasn't asking for a job. I wasn't looking for a job. Honest God, truth, I was just sharing. I was just talking. I was just conveying what I've done. I actually offered to come into this organization for free to make a deposit to share with them what I can do. Okay. Offered to come in, a 2-hour presentation for free, what I can do. I ended up getting a multi-$1,000 per month contract because I was just making a pitch. Okay. Do you have a pitch that stands out? Next, focus on the entire game, not just one hitter or one inning. Earn your way to the next interview. Be thinking about the next interview. Okay. Choose your pitch carefully. Know what's needed for the job. So research the role and company to understand what they value most. Your pitch should align with their needs and demonstrate that you're the perfect fit for that position. Very often, we don't do enough research on an organization. How many levels deep can you go into an organization? How can you talk to somebody who used to work there? How can you talk to some of their competitors to see what they're advertising, what they're pitching? How can you convey you know who their competitors are in the interview? Next, get over your fear of delivering a pitch. Presentation leads to opportunity. Confidence comes from preparation and practice. You'll be amazed that if you practice an hour, hour and 15 minutes, 2 hours, how those fears and those jitters evaporate. You'll be amazed at how fast the time goes by when you come well prepared and you have a message to deliver. Okay. So when you go to an interview, you ought to have a cheat sheet and you tell me, you know what? I just made some notes because I want to make sure I convey some critical things to you all. And so I wouldn't forget those things. Be well prepared and let them know how well prepared you are. Okay. You want to almost cut them off. Yeah. I read about A, B, C, and D. Learn to pitch under pressure through preparing well when there is no pressure. It's amazing how when you have muscle memory, I'm an old athlete, but we did drills because drills build skills. So when you continue to build your, we continue to do skills, drills, pitching skills, when you work on your pitching skills, when you do pitching drills, it leads to skills. Then if they ask me this question, you verbalize how you're going to respond. Okay. Your resume is just one of your pitches. Your resume is just one of your pitches. It gets you in the ballpark, but it doesn't get you a home run. As my as my good friend Liz Moffitt says, good resumes lead to interviews. Good interviews lead to job offers. Okay. And so it all comes down to your pitch. Your pitch becomes the foundation. It becomes your well from which you answer questions, from which you give feedback, from which you share information. Refine your repertoire of pitches. Just as a pitcher in baseball needs different pitches for different situations and different hitters, you should have multiple versions of your pitch tailored to networking events, interviews, or casual introductions. I also want to suggest you ought to know the DISC behavioral system. So then, based upon reading the room, you know how to shift your answers based upon the DISC style of the interviewers in the room. All righty. Lastly, do your scouting report on the self, on yourself, on the company, on the job, or the department. In your self-scouting report, understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and your goals. Okay? Guys, when you share your weaknesses, you really want to share your strengths to their excessiveness. You still want to come across as confident when you share your limitations. 2, company scouting report. Research the organization's mission, their culture, their recent news. When you go apply at Amazon, how many of you all know the 16 Amazon leadership virtues? Amazon has 16 leadership virtues. Fred said this. That's a great question, Fred. Should your pitch focus more on past accomplishments or on your skills? It should focus on both, because your past skills produced accomplishments. So you convey how your skill set has led to past accomplishments and can become an accurate predictor of future accomplishments. We're tracking together. All righty. Next is your department scouting report. Learn about the team structure, their projects, and their current challenges. All righty. I want to stop right now. I want to just field your questions. What are your questions that you all have? Can you take your notes to interview? Absolutely. You ought to take your notes to interview. In fact, you almost want to do a presentation when you get to the interview. I worked with a client recently, and we put together a presentation for them to make while they were making their pitch to the organization. We didn't call it a pitch. That's exactly what it was. It was a pitch. Thank you so much, Ms. Tamaris Conkelton. Good stuff here. How do you cultivate the right professional network to support your career goals? That's an excellent question. I run across a young lady who we taught and trained when she was younger. Now she wants to be in healthcare administration. She has her undergraduate degree in that. Now she wants to get her master's degree. I said, you want to go to the professional networks that are popular, and you want to go to the conferences because the hiring managers and the people who are in these jobs are at the conferences. So you want to make sure that you go to the conference so that people know who you are, where you are, what you do. You want to make sure you have scannable QR contact information. And you want to get in and have the conversation. You don't want to just go to the workshops. You want to ask questions in the workshop. You want to go up after the presentation and you want to ask the presenter questions. You want to ask them, can I have your email and your business phone number so I can follow up with you? You made an amazing point. I want to learn more about that. Now you've got somebody else's name in your phone book. You want to be able to stand out with those people. Then you want to follow up well. Brother Atwater says, when sending a thank you note, include at least one personal professional note you heard from the interviewer. You want people to know, I was listening, I was paying attention, I heard what you said. That stands out. That makes you stand out. So that becomes part of your professional network. Going to the professional trade shows. I'm not saying you got to go to the bar. I'm saying you need to go to the conference. You need to go to the workshop. You need to go to the seminars. You need to go to webinars. Jump on. If you can get one good thing from 1 hour webinar, it was worth the time. And so if you get one good thing from what we've been talking about today, it was worth the time. If I can get one good idea from a 3-hour presentation, it's worth the 3-hour presentation. Also, too, Brother Lee says, bring something to write on as well. I'm gonna tell you the truth. As I've been in leadership for decades now, and one of the things that frustrates me most is when somebody comes to an interview or comes to my office and doesn't have a writing tool and paper, or they're not actively recording action steps and notes. That tells me you didn't value the meeting, and this will be worthwhile, and you didn't come prepared. I have seen it as a hiring manager. Too many applicants show up not prepared for interview. Absolutely, they think, you know what, my job is to come in passively and just answer your questions. But a good interview person comes in to interview the organization as well. And so when you're asking questions as part of your pitch, you have good questions. And so when you're asking questions, then what happens is it shows that you're prepared. It shows that you aren't the average person. It shows that you're intelligent. It shows you're a critical thinker. It shows that you are proactive. It shows that you can be an independent worker. Okay. In your pitch, watch this now, write this down. In your pitch, are you trying to be an individual contributor, or are you trying to be a leader? And the questions you ask and what you convey in your pitch should be conveyed partially by the answer to, are you trying to be an individual contributor, or are you trying to be a leader? If you get stuck in the same role for too long, people question how good your skills are. Cream still rises to the top. That hadn't changed. Cream still rises to the top. Being a good individual contributor also means you're a good leader. How important is it to have an updated and impactful LinkedIn page? Whoo! I can't overstate the importance. That's part of your networking, is to keeping a updated and impactful LinkedIn page. What kind of example would you like me to give? That was one of the questions. That's next. How important? So it's very important to have an updated LinkedIn page. It's important to post on your LinkedIn page. Okay. If you're looking for a job, it's important to post. Not just I need a job, to demonstrate that you know what's happening in the industry, to demonstrate you have something to share, to demonstrate that you are a professional. So when you begin to post, it helps distinguish you. So, Brother Atwaters, what type of example would you like me to provide? Anybody else questions? We got people. What kind of questions do you have tonight? I'm here to serve you. I'm here to add value. Hopefully, I've added value. You know what? I know if you were paying attention, you were listening to me. I've added value to you already. Okay. Another way, a bigger network: team meetings, community events, team building outings, professional achievements. All of those things help you to build. An individual contributor example. So I make the reference: are you an individual contributor, or are you a multiplier? There's nothing wrong with either. But even as an individual contributor, how can you help improve the work of others? An individual contributor means you don't supervise anybody else. The only outcomes you're concerned about are your personal outcomes. As a leader, as part of your pitch, you need to communicate: how can you equip other people? How can you help get results done for the people? How can you think for the good of the entire organization? How can you influence the bottom line through the efforts of other people? Okay. And so it goes beyond just grunt work, but now it gets to higher level work. And I'll discuss that more next week. Well, I don't want to belabor the time. If there are no more questions, it has been a privilege for me to be with you on tonight. Hopefully that was something that was said that can add to your repertoire of putting together your pitch and you becoming the ultimate job candidate. Let me say it again. A great resume is important, but if you don't have a great pitch, it doesn't properly convey who you are in your resume. It's your resume. It is your interview. It's these 9 steps I showed you. It's this overall big picture process. We call it promotion. If we can serve you, we would love to hear from you. You can reach me at on our church website. This is part of our Reach Center. You can reach out to me at in our presentation. We would love to hear from you and how we can serve you better. Next week, we're going to talk about pitching in the bullpen. And so you see baseball players getting ready in the bullpen before they go into the game. Before you go into the interview, are you pitching before you get in there? Preparing a top-notch resume. So as you all can see, I'm going to cover a lot of stuff. I love what I'm doing. I want to see you knock it out the park. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.